Moadim L'Simcha and Chag Sameach. Wanted just to share a brief idea as Chol HaMoed ends and we go back into Yom Tov. The ending Yamim Tovim of Pesach, Shvi Shel Pesach and Achron Shel Pesach, the 7th and 8th days of Pesach, are different from other Yamim Tovim, different from other holidays that we have. They are the Kiddush that we make tonight and tomorrow night is the only time throughout the year we make Kiddush without the Shechianu Bracha. It's the only Yom Tov where we don't say a full Hallel. And so it's like a little bit like from one perspective, could be seen like a Yom Tov minus. It's the end days of Pesach, not its own holiday. And maybe the closest parallel is Shmini Atzeret, but Shmini Atzeret is actually, the Gemara tells us, its own holiday. And even though in some ways it isn't. So that case, it's a little bit different. And at the same time, it is, of course, at the end, it is a Yom Tov, and the Torah tells us to celebrate it as a Yom Tov. So I think there's a parallel between that kind of hybrid identity of these days of Pesach, as on the one hand, a little bit it's in between the exciting, dramatic first days of Pesach, and it is in between the upcoming holiday of Shavuot when we receive the Torah and with so much fanfare, that it could be parallel to the situation that we find ourselves in right now, like all of us in this community. We had one way of our community being back, let's say, in February, and we have another way of our community being, hopefully, again, full shul and full tables and hospitality and friendship again when this time ends. And in between, it's like an in-between time where we can't do all the things that we normally do. But I think, therefore, it's so valuable to take the lesson of this Shvi Shel Pesach, Achron Shel Pesach, as let's pause and celebrate for what is right now, even as it's different from what came before and is different from what is coming.
And I was asked to share something that I shared at our Seder, but it's really more appropriate, I think, for the last days of Pesach in some way. At the Seder, when we eat matzah, we attach a lot of significance to matzah. Maybe it's something you talked about at your Seder. Maybe you read something in the ASBI Seder Companion about matzah. And it's really there to serve a ritual purpose in the Seder. And when it comes to the last days of Pesach, there's matzah still on our tables, and it's not a ritual object anymore. We're not going to do anything special with the matzah. Not going to break it in half, not going to hide half of it. You can. But shout out to ASBI's Afikoman Hunts. You should all go looking in windows for pieces of matzah. But that's not going to be part of most meal rituals. And so the matzah is really just there instead of bread. And that pushes us to ask the question of why matzah in place of bread? The rabbinic literature in several places, and most notably, shout out to those learning Daf Yomi in Brachot not that many months ago. The Gemara identifies se'or shebe'isa, the leavening in bread, the thing that makes the bread rise, as a kind of stand-in for the Yetzer Hara, for the evil inclination. I think there is something to be said about the way in which bread rising both sort of represents an inflated ego, and actually the ways in which the bread making is an expression of the human ability to create something new, to take wheat and really water and not much else in some cases, and make this new creation. It makes us feel really proud of what we've created. So those last days of Pesach, when we don't have any other special thing to do with the matzah, is a time to just kind of contemplate it and think about the ways in which we have a certain arrogance or a certain inflated sense of self the rest of the year. And those last days of Pesach are a way of kind of bringing us down to earth and making us contemplate a little bit more on the spiritual side.
Do you want to say something about Pesach? No? That's fair. Okay. Wishing you all a wonderful Yom Tov. Looking forward to seeing you online or via email or on phone calls in the streets of Lakeview and eventually back in Shul. Take care.